If you want to see an extremely sweaty Johnson, boy, do I have a movie for you. In The Smashing Machine, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson stars as Mark Kerr, an Ultimate Fighting Championship fighter before UFC became the UFC it is today. Wrestling legend The Rock Dwayne Johnson is perfectly cast in this real-life story of early MMA and UFC champion and pioneer Mark Kerr. The story sees the seemingly unbeatable full-contact cage fighter Mark Kerr, Dwayne Johnson, setting new standards in violence and destruction as the seemingly unbeatable star of MMA, UFC. However, despite all his huge success, hard training, and giant muscles, the one thing Mark Kerr isn't prepared for is to lose. So when his first defeat comes, his confidence is shattered, and gradually his life falls apart. Co-starring Emily Blunt as Kerr's long-suffering wife, Dawn Staples, this isn't a Rocky story. There simply isn't a triumphant return to championship gold. Indeed, this is a human story of a man having to slowly accept that his days to bask in the adulation and glory of success have been eroded and ebbed away, and now it's simply about finding a way to face life and his demons away from the spotlight. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is perfectly cast as Mark Kerr in the role he was born to play, and moving away from his big-budget, blockbuster movies such as Fast and Furious, Dwayne Johnson finally shows what a versatile and terrific actor he is. With no Rocky or Karate Kid triumphant comeback, The Smashing Machine won't be to everyone's taste, but given the chance and taken on its own merits, it's a tough, gritty, hard-hitting movie that is definitely worth a watch. Unlike standard sports movies, The Smashing Machine leans into the dark, repetitive brutality of MMA. It doesn't glorify the sport, but instead highlights the painful consequences, both physical and emotional, of professional fighting and the corrosive effects of addiction. The film is unflinching in depicting violence, foul language, and drug use, making it less accessible for some audiences, but more truthful for others. The film resists Hollywood's typical narrative arcs. It's not a triumphant underdog story, but rather a study in struggle, relapse, and vulnerability. Some viewers appreciate this honesty and depth, while others find the movie's grim tone and lack of uplifting moments frustrating. Reactions to The Smashing Machine are mixed. Many critics and fans hail Johnson's performance as career-defining and praise the film for its emotional weight and authenticity. Some, however, find the movie's pacing slow and its relentless focus on pain and addiction difficult, limiting its perspective. Many critics argue that the movie's relentless focus on violence, addiction, and toxic relationships makes it feel overwhelmingly grim and exhausting, sometimes numbing audiences with its intensity rather than drawing them in. The depiction of Kerr and Dawn's relationship is criticized as messy and underdeveloped, lacking the psychological depth needed for their bond to feel convincing. Pacing is another primary complaint, with reviewers noting that the film drags and overstays its welcome, describing it as nearly half an hour too long and often recycling content from the original documentary without adding new perspective. For some, these issues combine to make The Smashing Machine feel more like a character sketch than a fully realized, compelling drama, and the movie is seen as falling short of its early award season promise. The Rock finally played a character that wasn't The Rock, and he did a good job. This is a weird movie. The acting, editing, and soundtrack are all good, but the overall story leaves you wanting more. There's no happy ending or Rocky moment, and by having no real conclusion, you don't really understand the point of the movie. It's good. You won't regret watching it, but I don't think you'll ever be dying to watch it again.